How are you, Angel?
Oh, good, thank you.
Where are we? Which shopping centre is this?
Mall Excelsior is one of the first malls we have in Paraguay.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's one of the oldest.
Wow. It feels old.
Yeah.
It's all right. Great to see you again. Last time we caught up, we spoke a bit about residency, but we didn't have time to talk about SWAS. If you could just give us a bit of information about how that works.
Sure. The SUACE is the investor program. It's a different type of residency. We have two types of residency. The first one is the temporary one. Then this one is the investor program through the SWACE, which grants you the permanent residency already.
Okay. So how would someone apply for that and how would they qualify for it?
Is slightly different from the temporary residency process. The documents from country of origin are the same. The difference is that we need to do a business plan, we need to do an affidavit, and we need to do certain forms for the residency program in this case. Another document that the people interested in apply for this residency needs to bring is a bank statement from the past 3 months. You need to have $70,000 for investment, and it has to be shown on the 3 latest bank statements that you will bring. And a very important thing is it has to be an individual account. It cannot be under a company's name.
So when you say an individual account, would that be an individual as a person or a business account?
As a person, yeah.
Okay. So it's a $70,000 investment. What about if a family comes or a couple?
In this case, only will apply the family member that is applying through the SWAS investment. If this person comes with the family, the other part of the family will need to apply for the temporary residency.
If a couple is coming, they would have to pay twice that amount?
That's right. They will have to set up a business, a plan, and a whole project together, but investing the same amount each one of them.
And just so I understand, if you were a couple and you came in that way, would each member of that couple have to have a bank account showing 70,000 and 70,000? Is that the way it would work?
That's right.
So is this a very common thing that people are doing?
Not really. Most people will decide to go for the temporary residency because it can be faster, and some people doesn't have that kind of amount of money to invest. But it's a structure that is planned for investors, digital nomads that are planning to get opportunities in Paraguay, and they want to have a long-term strategy in order to be here in Paraguay.
So it seems to me that it would probably be more suited to individuals.
Yes.
Okay. And are there particular businesses that these individuals are meant to be interested in getting involved in? Is there particular sectors, or can they do any sort of business?
On the first place, we have a real estate business. Most of my clients decided to go into this area. And the second one is marketing.
When you say real estate business, what are we talking about?
It's about buying properties that already exist so they can refurbish everything and put it either for sale or to rent it, or Airbnb. Can be long or short term rental, or it can be also Airbnb and all of that stuff.
So could you come and buy a house and live in it?
Yes, it's possible.
But that's not a business.
The thing is that for the SWAS investment program, what you will need to do is only to create a legal structured company.
See.
You don't need to actually have an active business. You don't need to have a physical address in order for it to work. For example, you can create your business plan, have it create like a business plan for real estate, and you can buy a property, and that will be useful as an investment too.
Okay.
There is a requirement to hire five Paraguayan people. Five Paraguayan people, that's what they ask normally. And the very important thing is after you get all the process done for the residency, you need to get in touch with the SUACE and tell them, I got my cedula now, I have my permanent residency, and here are the bylaws of the company I actually created. I have an active group. So in that case, you won't lose your resident status, because if you don't get in touch with them after 3 months, they can take out your residency.
Okay. And when you get in touch with them, do you have to present proof of the fact that you're hiring people and that you're a functioning business?
Not for hiring, because after the 3 months, that you created the company and you have your residency, the only thing that you have to prove is that you have your permanent residency ID card, that you have your cedula, that you actually created the company, and that your company has an active group. It's just for let them know that you actually did something and are into it.
Okay. And is this something you've helped many people set up?
Yeah, I have many people doing this. I have diplomatic people even working on this kind of projects. Um, Normally is for investors and digital nomads, as we mentioned, that want to keep their money going and they don't want to feel very attached to something. The good thing about this is that it gives you stability and legal freedom.
See.
Other important thing is that the timeline for this is so much faster than applying for a temporary residency, because when we talk about temporary residency, we normally are talking about 5 months until you can get your cedula in a normal process. With the permanent residency, you can have already your cedula in 2 months, because after you apply for the permanent residency, the card is ready in about 30 to 45 days. Then your cedula is ready in about 2 or 3 weeks after that. So it's the process, but in the half.
So as long as someone's got their paperwork sorted, it sounds like it's a pretty solid process. It's a pretty reliable pathway.
It is. And one important thing that people that are thinking on, they need to be here for at least 2 or 3 weeks. I recommend always 3 weeks, because we need to prepare the business plan. We need to prepare the forms. We need to do the affidavit. After we present that to the SWAS, it takes 5 business days for them to issue the investment certificate. Once we have that investment certificate, we can go and apply for the permanent residency in the SWAS. They have a special immigration office there, only and exclusively for people that are going to apply for the permanent residency, but it takes a little bit more of time. So normally what I do with my clients is they will let me know at least 2 or 3 weeks before their arrival. I need to know already if it's going to be more than 70,000. I need to know the amount that they want to invest. I need to know already the name of the company they are going to set up. I will need some personal details like a phone number and email address, so I can draft already the business plan and the affidavit, because the business plan is included in the whole process that I do.
See.
That means that the person that coming to apply, the client, doesn't have to draft any business plan, or they don't have to worry about that, because it's all included.
Okay.
So in that way, when the time comes and they arrive, I'm going to have everything ready. The first day we will meet at the notary, because the affidavit needs a signature certification. It takes 2 or 3 business days for me to complete the local documents. After those 2 or 3 days, we're going to apply for the investment certificate. From there, it takes 5 business days. Then we go and apply for the permanent residency, and it's ready within 30 and 45 days.
And what's the situation with bank accounts?
It's still being very difficult to open a bank account for foreigners for some reason. It depends on each bank. Normally, they will request you to have at least 6 months of presenting affidavits for the RUP, so they can see that you have movement and you are earning money. Some of them will request you to be a legal resident for at least 2 or 3 years in order to get a better bank account. And The only possibility that we have now is to apply for a digital bank account, which is a basic bank account with your cedula and has a limit of 1,000 US dollars per month.
Okay. So it's one of those things people still need to work through, and it's something that we hope the government will help people with in terms of encouraging the banks, because if a country's got a process to encourage investors, once again, we're in that situation where we're thinking, well, it kind of makes sense that people should be able to have a bank account and move their money in.
Yeah. In this case, for example, if you decide to go through the SUACE route, after you have your documents, you need to create a company, which can be, for example, an EAS. And that's a digital platform where you have to create the company and everything. It's pretty straightforward. And with an EAS, that will be for the company creation, you already have like a bank account with the BNF, that is the national bank in here. So that's one of the things that it's very valuable for investors coming to do the SWAS program, because it's easier for them to get a bank account for the company itself.
So that would be like a full bank account where they can move money in from overseas.
That's right. It can be a checking account, it can be a savings account, you can have it in Guaraníes, you can have it in USD. You will have, of course, a SWIFT code, so you can send all the capital of the company to your bank account in Paraguay.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That gets around a big hurdle. Yeah. So if you are partway through a temporary residence process, so you've got your temporary residence and you're waiting out your time before you can apply for permanent residence, it wouldn't make sense to apply for the SWAS, would it? It would be just something that you generally do from the start rather than temporary residence. Because I know some people might be out there who have a temporary residence cedula, and they may be thinking, oh, this might be an option for me, but it probably wouldn't be something that you'd do in that situation.
No, if you already requested and have your temporary residency, you can no longer apply for that kind of residency, of course, because it's more easy just to wait the other 2 years and change the category to permanent resident. It can be very useful for the people applying for the permanent residency, is that the investors actually want to get the Paraguayan passport too. So they will do this shortcut in order to get the passport, because when you are applying for the Paraguayan citizenship, you need to have 3 years of permanent residency in order to start applying for it. So you are doing this shortcut too. Instead of waiting 5 years from the TR, you only have to wait 3 years from being a permanent resident in order to request your citizenship.
Have you known many people that have gone on to apply for their citizenship?
I know a few, maybe 2 or 3. It's not very common because it's a long process. It can take 3 to 5 years to get it. You have to run some historical tests and all of that. And in some cases, they will ask you to quit your previous citizenship to get the Paraguayan passport.
See, I know of one person that went through the process and they had to learn the anthem.
Yeah, that's right. They will make you write the anthem in order to pass the test.
Do you know the anthem?
Yeah, for sure.
Can you sing it for us?
Oh, no, I'm so bad at it.
Maybe another video, huh?
Yeah, maybe. I will do some rehearsal first.
We'd get kicked out of KFC if we started singing the anthem.
Yeah.
I think we'd have to sing the American anthem in KFC, wouldn't we?
Yeah, there's no way for me to know that one.
Yeah. Well, I'm not singing my previous country's anthem. That's too hard on the ears. That's all good information. And, you know, a lot of people are really curious and want to know a lot about the SWAS, but it's one of those things you sort of need to really dig into, and there's a bit to it. So I guess the best thing to do, if anyone was interested, to contact you. So we'll put a link in the description below if anyone wants to just talk the issues through with you, and you can book an online chat.
That's right. Once again, all of you have 30 minutes free of the video call in case you have any questions about the temporary residency, the permanent residency, in case you want to inquire about other services, and if you have any other question. And another thing that I think is important to mention, I normally get a lot of questions about the RUC because it's kind of confusing when investing for the residency program and having a personal RUC. So those are two different things. If you are going through the permanent route, you need to set up the company, and the company needs to have its RUC. It's different in case you want to have a tax residency for yourself.
Right.
In that case, you need to apply for a personal tax ID that you can do it with your cedula. And after 6 months of presenting affidavits, you can request a tax residency certificate, which is very different from the RUC of the company because are two separate things. And a very important thing is some countries will recognize your cedula as being a tax resident in Paraguay without going through the tax ID path. But it's just in some certain countries.
Okay.
The normal path is you have your cedula, you apply for the RUC, you will hire like an accountant to do your affidavit each month, and after 6 months you can request a tax residency certificate at the set.
I'm really curious. How do you keep up with all this, especially when you're talking about different countries? This is an incredible amount of information to retain. Like, what have you got a computer up there or something, or you just don't have a life? Or
I think I'm just updated with the Gen Z body, the mind, and everything.
See, that's
And after 7 years of experience, I never forget the name of any client. I always remember.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Gen Z.
Man, I'd say, oh, seriously. Oh, man. I have some issues with memory, but that's all right. Sometimes there's things you don't want to remember, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know that.
So it's good in that
Yeah, I
situation.
have some filters too.
I've got a filter, it's just everything. Oh, well, that's all very good. So is there anything else that you think people might want to know about that I haven't asked you about?
Not really. I think we pretty much covered everything. If any of the people watching this video have any more questions about setting up the company, getting the permanent residency, or even how taxes work in Paraguay, I'm free to meet on our meetings, and you can just book some time on the link.
Awesome. And how's the residency process going in general? Are still a lot of people coming and still very busy?
Lots of people coming. I have booked pretty much everything until maybe August this year. So I'm pretty busy with everything.
Okay. Well, it sounds like our bucket has just been
Yeah.
put up on the counter. You can have half.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'll try to.
Yeah. No, actually, I don't eat this stuff. I had to just get some chips just so that we wouldn't get kicked out. But, you know, it's all good. Thanks for catching up with us and updating us with all this. We get hit up with some questions about this quite often, so now we're a little bit clued up. And thanks very much, and until next time, take care. Ciao.